If you look at why the telecommunication industry is the most successful industry in Sri Lanka, that brings in the largest revenues to the government coffers, while bringing cheap telephony to the people in the remotest village, the answer is fairly simple, and that is the government has been out of managing that industry. What I am referring to is the liberalization of telecoms and the creation of competition that drove the industry from the days in which you had to line up, stay in the queue for 10 years before you got a telephone, to a situation where you can get a phone in 10 minutes. So the government created the conditions for private enterprise to thrive in this industry, and that, I think, is from a policy point of view the biggest I want to say non-intervention rather than intervention that has made this industry successful. You see, Nokia does a study every year, I believe, that looks at what's called the total cost of ownership of mobile telephones across the world. And for the last so many years, Sri Lanka has been one of the lowest, perhaps I think in the first 5 lowest total cost of ownership. That means whereas in some countries it costs $30 a month to use a phone, Sri Lanka you can use a phone with the same amount of phone use for less than, I think, around $3 or $4 a month. So what that shows is that the Sri Lankan companies, and not just Sri Lanka, also in India, have looked at models outside your textbook model, which we call the budget telecom model, like the budget airline model, where you run a low-cost operation, which then allows the poor people, the rural people, the people who can't afford high cost of use, to use mobile telephones. So the argument that the government must intervene and subsidize phone companies so that they can take the service to the rural poor has actually been proven wrong in particularly Sri Lanka and in India.
Yeah.
So while I agree that there are certain very remote places, we call it the market access gap, and where you need subsidies, specific subsidies to be given, perhaps in countries like, difficult countries like maybe places like Bhutan and so on. That case is not as strong in countries like Sri Lanka.